Hello everyone, my name is Brandon and today is another item from my collection along with a few more Atari games. And before I talk about the games, I'd like to talk about this system I have in front of me. This is a Sears Video Arcade 2. This is a rebadging of the Atari 2800 that sold in Japan. As you notice, the difficulty switches are actually just here as simple push buttons, as well as a joystick and paddle select, as well as your select and reset. Now you do not see this on the Atari 2600, and I'll get to that here in a minute. But if we look at the back of the console, if you notice, the shell is very similar to the Atari 7800, and it's powered by a barrel jack. You have a RF cable built into the console like you would the original 2600s. And on the front you have 4 controller ports. And on the bottom is where you would find your channel select between A and B, which I believe is channel 2 and 3. And your TV type between color and black and white. Now the reason why you're going to see the joystick and paddle right here is because they actually used a special controller, which I have right here. And it's branded Sears Video Arcade 2. You have 2 fire buttons. They both map to the same. And then you have your joystick, but your joystick also can turn and function as your paddle. So they're dual function joysticks, and they're kind of big, hefty, really rounded, and are really comfortable actually. These ship typically with a 12 volt AC power supply. Which is not very common to see an AC power supply like that. You can use a Magnavox Odyssey 2 power supply, but there is a bridge rectifier inside, so you can use a 9 volt DC. In fact, the Nintendo power supply center negative barrel jack will work on this and it'll power it up. So let's go ahead and start looking at some games. The first game I want to look at today would be Asteroids. Asteroids was released in 1981. Brad Stewart was the programmer and published by Atari. It is the first game to utilize bank switching, which increased the ROM size from 4 kilobytes to 8 kilobytes. The object of the game is to destroy as many asteroids as possible and keep your ship in space as long as possible. Some game modes introduce satellites and UFOs, which will take shots at the player. The difficulty switches in B position is normal gameplay, whereas A would introduce the aforementioned satellites and UFOs. There's 66 game variations for 1 or 2 players, with adjustments for fast or slow travel of asteroids, lives, with or without features such as hyperspace, shields, flip, and young children's modes at games 33 and 66 respectively. Next up on my list is Battlezone. Battlezone released in 1983 and is programmed by Michael Feinstein and Brad Rice. It was published by Atari. It utilizes raster graphics instead of the vectors that the arcade version has, as well as a third-person view of the tank instead of first-person. At number 3, I have Berserk. Berserk came out in 1982 and was programmed by Dan Hitchens, published by Atari. The object of the game is to score as many points as possible without being destroyed. Avoid touching walls, robots, and evil auto. Avoid lasers shot by your robots. There's 12 different game variations, with 12 being a children's version. And in this game, the difficulty switches do nothing. At number 4 is Crystal Castles. Crystal Castles was released in 1984, programmed by Peter Naday and published by Atari. You play as Bentley Bear and progress through 8 different castles, collecting magical gems while avoiding enemies and picking up power-ups and honeypots along the way for extra points. You will receive a bonus if you pick up the last gem on every level before the enemy. At number 5 and halfway through my list is Dark Chambers. Dark Chambers is one of my favorite games. Dark Chambers released in 1988 and is programmed by Adam Clayton and John Palovich, published by Atari. The game features an undocumented pause function by hitting the TV type switch from color to black and white. It's a dungeon crawler which you must progress to the next level by escaping, evading, or destroying your enemies, with 3 different skill levels and up to 1 to 2 players. Number 6 is Defender. Defender released in 1981 and was programmed by Robert C. Polaro and published by Atari. The object is to defend the Earth from alien abductors and clear waves of enemies and rescue people before they are carried off. The difficulty switches affect how fast your ship can ascend and descend. There's 20 game variations, with 1 through 10 are single player, 11 through 20 are multiplayer. 10 and 20 are for children's modes. The game variations make changes to game speed, training missions, or the ability to skip waves to start at a harder level in the game. Number 7 is Dig Dug. Dig Dug, released in 1985 and is programmed by Douglas B. McRae and Ava Robin Cohen. Published by Atari. There's a maze game where the player digs mazes to defeat their enemies with his hose, inflating them till they pop, or crushing them with falling rocks. On the last enemy, they will make a break to leave the screen. You can receive a bonus for clearing the screen and leaving no survivors. Enemies become more tenacious as you progress in levels, often trying to trap or quickly approach the player and overwhelm you with their numbers. The difficulty switches serve no function in this game. There's 2 game variations, with one being normal gameplay and the other being in easy mode. At number 8 on my list is Pac-Man. Pac-Man, released in 1981 and is programmed by Todd Fry and published by Atari, it quickly became a pack-in game for the console. You move Pac-Man around a maze, eating the wafers, power pills, and vitamins. Power pills allow you to consume ghosts, which more points are awarded for each ghost consumed. There are 8 game variations, with 4 for single player and 4 for multiplayer. Games 3 and 7 are for children. Each setting adjusts how fast the ghosts move around the screen or how fast Pac-Man moves. The difficulty switches allow for how much time power pills stay active, B for longer times, and A for advanced players with shorter times. Number 9 is Miss Pac-Man. Miss Pac-Man, released in 1982 and is programmed by Mark S. Ackerman, Glenn Parker, Douglas McRae, and Josh Littlefield. It was published by Atari. The object of the game is to score as many points as you can by eating the dots, fruits, pretzels, pellets, and ghosts. The difficulty switches do nothing, but there are 4 game variations, one being standard arcade gameplay and the 3 easier game modes, with 1, 2, or 3 ghosts pursuing instead of the normal 4 ghosts. And number 10, the last game on my list here, is Mario Brothers. Mario Brothers, released in 1983, is programmed by Dan Hitchens, published by Atari under license from Nintendo. Players must defeat enemies by turning them upside down and kicking them. To turn your enemies upside down, one must jump below the platform on which their enemy is standing and hit them, or hit them with the POW block. Players must dodge fireballs by jumping over them or fleeing to another level on screen. In later stages, the player can encounter Slip Ice, who can freeze floors into a slippery ice surface. You can prevent this by knocking him out first. There are 8 different game variations, with 4 for multiplayer, 4 for single player. Game variations can adjust the presence of fireballs or how many lives the players start with in any combination of the 2. The difficulty switches do nothing on this game. you guys like the video I brought to you today. Just wanted to show you my new console I got that hopefully I will be fixing. I'll try to document anything I do, so maybe that'll help anyone in the future if they have one with the same issues. As well as the 10 games that I brought out. I mean, and show these controllers. I've never seen these controllers before in person either. It was a case of I saw this on eBay and it was listed at a really good price, and I knew it was going to be too good to be true, and I was correct. So hopefully I can get this one fixed and working and enjoy this console. But if you guys have a great day,